there was a lot of progress made, and we worked very closely with the parks. We worked closely with other organizations. There's a lot of cooperation with the Chagrin River watershed partners and with the various park systems in order to protect the land and protect our relationship with it. Now I'm going to fast forward to the more or less the present era, and I have a new term for the present era which I'd like to introduce to you, and hope many of you will find there's resonance. I call it the era of limits. Suddenly we're realizing that there are limits. Maybe not suddenly, but more suddenly than we realize. And what those limits are is the limits of the natural world to accommodate our human civilization. The way we use resources, the way we have altered habitats, the way we have introduced pollutants and toxins. I don't have to tell you about the plastics that are now a major issue in our oceans and streams and everywhere. John made a little bit of joke about insects. I'm fascinated with insects primarily because of the extreme losses that we've seen in our insect populations. I can go to those areas in Newbury where I grew up where there were swarms of insects, and I can barely find any. And this research shows that this is happening worldwide, and as a result primarily of all of our human activities. So with that in mind and with these limits in mind, I would like to thank all of you for your work, encourage the young people to realize that we have a lot of work to do to respond to this. And it's important, a lot of the work that was done and a lot of the legislation is sort of top-down. It's the national legislature, Congress, and it's the state legislature. But what you people are doing is what I call bottom-up work, which I think in this era of limits is probably the most important work that we can do. The work that you do in your own backyards, the work you do in your communities, the work you do in your counties. And that bottom-up work consists of simply going out into the woods, doing the kind of things that that were talked about earlier, where you go when you visit a bog, and you learn about it, and you teach other people, and you bring your children, get your children out into the woods. Then in schools that we have programs to get people out in the woods and really understand the relationships that we have with the natural world and the importance of the way we depend on it and it depends on us. And the work that you're doing to preserve land is important. The collaboration with other organizations is extremely important, whether it be the watershed partners with land conservancies, and also in your political jurisdictions. A very important issue is just simply your local zoning and what it does to help to direct development in areas where there's already supporting infrastructure for the development, where you have the water and sewer, and to lessen the impact of going out into the open space land and converting it into housing and parking lots and shopping centers. That's something that I know that those of you who are involved with Geauga Parks are very much interested in. And I encourage you to continue to do that kind of work. And also to pay attention to some of the larger issues. The talk that was given by one of the recipients, I think, was quite inspiring about changing our own personal lives in terms of the plastics we use, how much energy we use, how much impact are we having individually on the environment, as well as those around us. We have a lot of big issues. We all know about global warming. We know that's changing things. Our tree populations are changing. We're seeing a lot more diseases. We're seeing a lot more insects, invasive species. So the area of limits is a real thing, and I've seen this over my whole life and my career. That we're just impacting the environment in very serious ways. But the only thing we can do is the kind of work you people are doing. And I would encourage you, I would sort of throw back to you whatever merit or whatever recognition may be appropriate for this type of an award, because all of you can be heroes of conservation by just doing your own work in your own backyard, in your own community, working with the park districts, working with your legislative people, working with other organizations. And if this is the only way, this bottom-up work and this detailed work and this hard work is the only way that we're going to be able to meet this challenge that we have today. So again, I thank you very much for this recognition. It's wonderful, and just wonderful to see so many people I've known for so many years. And I have special thanks to Kathleen O'Neill, who I think was instrumental in this award. And who I worked with in the Sierra Club back in the 80s. She and I were on the Conservation Committee together and had many, many good times and important projects that we did. And so there are just so many of you, I couldn't even begin to name all of you that I've worked with and enjoyed relationships with over the years. So thank you again, and let's all work together to continue to do the work that's needed to keep the world green and healthy, and keep our people healthy within it. Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce Senator John Eklund. He has a special proclamation for each of our heroes.
Thank you all very much for allowing me to be with you today. And thank you to our conservation heroes. It's a wonderful day for you and a worthy honor. And thanks to all of you for taking the time and the foresight and, if I may, the heart to honor these great Ohioans. I have these proclamations for you to celebrate and to honor your role in the planned preservation and protection and management of natural resources so as to prevent their exploitation or their destruction or neglect to them. And that's the purpose of these proclamations signed by the Senate President and myself, is to extend that thanks to you. But if I may, the thought of conservation, right, to which you've devoted your lives, I've got something else to thank you for, and that is the example that you have made for so many people, not just in the area of natural resources, but as a conservationist. If you stop and think about it for a minute, conservation can mean the careful preservation, protection of almost anything. And here in Geauga County, here in the state of Ohio and the United States of America, we have so many things that are worthy of protecting and conserving. And your devotion to conserving the way you have has been a beacon and an example far beyond the size of this room and far beyond the people who have been so diligent and persistent in dealing with natural resource issues. And for that, I'm particularly grateful, and thank you all so very much. And thank you again for
all very much for being here. Thank you for attending and attending so fully this award ceremony. Please, we have desserts over there and coffee and more punch. So please feel free to get up and mingle and have some refreshments. Thank you very much.